Sesha. Hi guys, in this video we are going to take a look at the IT Act and some laws that you should know as an Indian for digital forensic, and some special sections that I feel that you need to understand. The first one is section 2(1)(t). Now this is basically, it defines what are electronic record. So before starting with any law, you need to understand what is defined in the digital evidence, like what is defined as an electronic record. So for example, in simple terms, electronic record is something that is computer generated. Now again, there is a gray area over here. It does not clearly defines things like IoT or LoRa devices or communication based on IoT devices and things like that. So again, those are not computers, but they have computing powers. So there are a lot of gray spots because the act is old. But yes, you first need to, before starting with digital investigation or forensic investigation, digital forensic investigation, you need to clear what are electronic record. Now the second section that you need to have a look at is section 79A, which is an amendment to the IT Act 2008. It is basically the examiner of the electronic evidence, like who is the examiner. So it basically empowers the central government to specifically form a department or a body or agency that can work as an examiner. So again, the central government has the right to form a department or body and agency. So it defines who is an examiner of electronic evidence, or for digital evidence, who can be an examiner. The second and the third thing actually is rules and notification, which are under IT Act. The government issues rules and notification under various section of IT Act, and it contains a lot of data. So section 69 actually contains provisions for destruction or preservation of data, because in this video we are going to talk about preservation and concern. So let's say, for example, if there is certain case and there are some messages that are required for the case, but the case is taking longer time, so in that case WhatsApp or the social media provider should preserve the data. So there are a lot of things that needs to be done, and the provider should actually save the data until the case is over. And these are the laws that we are going to talk about, that is for preservation and the concern to use the digital evidence. So we are going to take a look at how you can preserve the data and what are the laws for preservation of digital evidence and digital data, and even concerns. Now the previous Evidence Act of 1872, the Indian Evidence Act, was replaced by BSA in 2023. So there are few things that you need to understand. The first one is the section 65A. So before BSA, the section 65A was regarding the consents and the contents of electronic evidence, and how it should be proved. And in 65B, it was a critical provision that was laid down, and the condition that how the electronic records will be admissible in court as evidence. So for example, electronic records like printed on paper, stored record, and copied optically or magnetically media, these were the things that were considered as documents. So let's say if you have certain image of a book, so in that case the image can be admissible, but at the same time, if it is a printed thing, it is not an electronic record. But in some cases, even printed paper is also considered an electronic record. And there is something called section 65B4, which is the certificate, and which was mandatory, and it is basically a subsection of 65B. And in the subsection, you need to certify and identify the electronic record, describing the manner of its production, providing particulars of the device and dealing with the condition mentioned. So let's say if you have a electronic evidence, so you need to understand that, let's say for example, if you have a printed page, so in that case you need to prove that how it was produced, and you also need to prove which device was used to create, and the evidence, let's say if there is a document or a file on a hard disk, you need to work around with it, and you need to prove which device was used to produce the same and how it was electronically produced. Then again, there is something called chain of custody, who handled the device. There was no alteration before the evidence was produced. But the BSA, that is the new 2023 act, basically replaced or actually enhanced the previous act, and sections like 65B were basically in detail. So now, previously it was media, the document which was optical and magnetic media, so that is hard disk that works on magnets, and optical drives like USB or CD-ROMs were considered. But now it has been updated, and with the upgrade of technology it has changed a lot. So the BSA basically of 2023 considers and mandates audiovisual electronic recording of search and seizure. So there are a lot of things that you need to understand, but I'm giving you a heads off of these acts that are available, which tend to be usually used in evidence production. So it requires forensic evidence collection in cases where punishable act with the 7 years or more. So there are a lot of things that you need to understand. Now there is again some sections in CRPC. Now CRPC is basically used by normal police in most cases, like physical problems or physical crimes. So under CRPC there are certain sections that interact with digital evidence, like in section 91, 93 and 102. These sections deal with the power of court and the police to issue summons for production of documents and other things. So now, for example, if there is certain evidence, digital evidence, under section 91, 93 and 102, the police can summon the warrant, search warrant, to produce the document. Now this comes under CRPC Act, and there are certain sections which more or less work around with the digital evidence. So let's say for example, if there is a crime and the police wants a pen drive or something, so they can summon and they can issue a search warrant for the production. Like they can tell someone to bring the pen drive, even though it is a digital evidence. So it is interconnected with physical crimes. And again, there are certain best practices that I would suggest that you need to do for digital evidence preservation in terms of law and forensic. The first one is timeliness. So just make sure that you identify, collect and preserve the data as soon as possible, because certain data is volatile and non-volatile in nature. Let's say in case of RAM, if you turn on the device and turn it off, the data inside the RAM is volatile. So you need to make sure that you are collecting the evidence at once and you are doing it timeliness, so you don't alter it. There is no alteration. And usually write blockers are used, that is you won't be able to write content on it, but you can just receive the data. Like let's say if you have a pen drive, so you don't accidentally write something on the pen drive, but you just retrieve the data, and image is created and we work on the image. A bit by bit copy forensic image is created. And the most important part is the chain of custody. Like for example, if the evidence is collected at a certain time and if some alteration is done after the collection of evidence, then chain of custody will basically tell who basically altered the data in case of an audit trial. And hashing is important because in court, how will you prove that a certain image was taken from a certain device or not modified? So a MD5 hash is produced and then the evidence is matched with the MD5 hash, and documentation is really important. So these are some of the best practices if we talk about digital evidence preservation and digital forensic laws and forensic related things. So it is really important to do it timeliness, no alteration, and then work on an image, use write blockers. Chain of custody is important, hashing is important, and documentation is really important.